convinced my daughter, Your Honor, to go ahead and put him on child support because mother to mother, your mother, how'd you raise your son? I didn't raise my daughter like this. This was just, I guess, a
what? I never met you. It's the same situation.
I never met my real mother.
It's just you was blessed to get a family to take care of you. I
understand that, but I never met my mother.
From this person to that person to that person.
Judge Lake opens the case of Wilson versus Dowdy. Ms. Wilson is here after a 34-year search to prove the defendant is her daughter's biological father. Shakina Wright sits beside her, bearing a gaping emotional wound from this decades-long denial. Mr. Dowdy acknowledges their brief fling, but insists it's highly unlikely he is the father. He intends to prove it today. The stage is set for a painful confrontation over a lifetime of unanswered questions.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello.
This is a case of Wilson versus Dowdy.
Ms. Wilson, after a 34-year search, you are here to prove to the defendant that he is your daughter, Shakina Wright's biological father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Wright, you say that Mr. Dowdy's paternity denial has left you with a gaping emotional wound and you are desperate to know the truth about your paternity. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
For Miss Wilson, this day means everything. She explains it means more for her daughter, wanting Mr. Dowdy to finally take responsibility, something he has refused for decades. He was her first love, she reveals, the first person she fell hard for. They met at a party, and she slept with him that first night because she felt a genuine connection. This wasn't a casual encounter for her. It was the beginning of love.
What I mean by that, Your Honor, is that it means a lot to me, but it means more to my daughter. And I just want Mr. Dowdy to take full responsibility.
And up until now, he has not?
No, ma'am, he has not.
All right.
Your Honor,
so
he was my first love. He was my first love. He was the first person I fell hard in love with.
Judge Lake confirms Mr. Dowdy remembers the sexual relationship. He does, recalling vividly how he asked to taste her red lipstick, sparking a passionate 3-day connection. The judge then asked the critical question, did they use protection? Mr. Dowdy's answer is a simple, stark no. This admission hangs in the air, the unprotected intimacy from decades ago forming the very basis of the painful mystery they are here to solve.
Listen, Mr. Dowdy, you remember having this sexual relationship with Miss Wilson?
Yes, I do.
And so you met her at this party. You have sex with her. Did you use protection?
No, I didn't. When I first met Barbara, I'll never forget the day. We was sitting like in the living room and she had some red lipstick on.
Ms. Wilson recounts discovering her pregnancy. She called Mr. Dowdy, who was initially happy, promising to send for her and build a life in Connecticut, but he never returned. Judge Lake presses him. Why? He shrugs, offering a feeble, young and dumb as his only explanation. He didn't believe he was the father. Ms. Wilson interjects, convinced he always knew, but simply never wanted the responsibility, abandoning her to raise their child alone.
What was his response?
He was happy. He was, like, okay, I'm gonna send for you. We're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. And, I'm gonna send for you. You're gonna come to Connecticut. And, not knowing he was still living with his parents.
So, Mr. Dowdy, do you remember this conversation when she called to say she was pregnant?
Yeah, I remember that because,
Mr. Dowdy claims he did return a year later, but was threatened by a man at her apartment who said she was in Philadelphia. He felt this man could have been the father. Ms. Wilson immediately refutes this, identifying the man as a family member. "We don't do that. That's called incest," she states, dismissing his theory. Mr. Dowdy pleads ignorance, but his excuse for vanishing appears to be crumbling under scrutiny.
And so from there, do you lose touch? How does this happen? He never shows. Your mom would give you the money.
But I did come back. About maybe a year later to go find her. But when I did get there, I went to where she last place I knew she lived, and some dude approached me like, "Oh, she's not here. We don't want you around here. We don't want to have nothing to do with you."
Judge Lake asks why Ms. Wilson didn't pursue him more aggressively. Her answer reveals his deception. He gave her a false last name. He was using Nelson, not Dowdy. He didn't want to be found, Your Honor, she asserts. For 34 years, this simple deception prevented any closure, trapping Shakina in a life of uncertainty, while Mr. Dowdy remained hidden, shielded by the alias he provided during their brief, fateful weekend together.
Her father is. What are you telling her?
I told her who her father was when she was old enough to, to recognize
You
or
told
realize.
her it was Mr. Dowdy?
Yes.
And so, Shakina, I want to hear from you. What was it like growing up without? Oh, honey, just take a deep breath and just try to give your honest testimony.
It's okay, I love you.
Yep, just take your time. What was your experience like?
Shayna finally speaks, her voice thick with emotion. She describes the childhood shame of having no father, forced to lie to classmates, sometimes claiming he was dead. "Why did you do me this way? Why me?" she cries, voicing a lifetime of pain and rejection. It was a missing part of her, a constant hardship. Her raw testimony exposes the deep human cost of this 3-decade mystery, silencing the courtroom.
A lot of times when I was a child, I had to go to school and see other kids with their daddy, and they used to ask me, well, where's your daddy? I used to just lie and make up stuff. I would say that he's dead or he lives in another state somewhere. I've been always wondering how he looked, where he was, why did you do me this way?
Mr. Dowdy explains his name confusion, citing his adoption and 2 last names. He claims he was never hiding. Shayna challenges him directly. Knowing he was adopted and had a family, why didn't he step up for her? "You was a healthy human being, that you should stepped up and found your child to give me a better life." She contrasts his blessed upbringing with her own unstable one, demanding accountability.
My social security. But come to find out, my biological mother's name was also on my birth certificate, because it took a little while for me to get my birth certificate. But it was never a point that I was running or hiding, but I have 2 last names.
Knowing that you was adopted, why not, because you was adopted, and have your real parent?
The search ended on Facebook. Ms. Wilson searched Leon Nelson, but his picture appeared under Leon Dowdy. She inboxed him, and he called immediately. She confronted him, telling him his daughter was 33 and demanding he step up. Shayna also messaged him, asking if he knew he was her father. His reply was definitive. "Yes, I do. I never denied you. I know you're mine." After decades, he finally acknowledged her.
How did that happen?
I found him on Facebook. I put in Leon Nelson and his picture popped up.
Really?
Like I said, I never knew about Dowdy, but it popped up Leon Dowdy. I said, well, this is his face. I said, where did Dowdy come from? Who is that?
Mr. Dowdy says he was glad to be found. Shayna traveled to Connecticut for their first meeting. She was excited, but her hopes soured upon arrival. He was not in his right mind. Despite her disappointment, she studied him, noting similarities in their walk, stance, and hands. She saw herself in him, a physical resemblance that offered a flicker of validation, even as his intoxicated state damaged the moment.
And you got this call about a young woman, Ms. Wilson says is your daughter, your 30-something-year-old daughter.
To be honest, I was glad to hear. I was glad to know that they found me.
Because I hit him on Facebook too. I said, well, do you know that you're my father? He said, yes, I do. He said, I never denied you. I know you're mine.
Their relationship since has been strained. Shayna says it's a little, but not what it should be, wishing he called more. She reveals he once blocked her on Facebook. He defends himself, saying he unfriended her because he was tired of her provocative pictures. Ms. Wilson counters, accusing him of recently trying to reconnect with her. The conflicting stories and blurred boundaries reveal a deeply complicated and unresolved dynamic between all 3.
And we sat down, we talked, and I was just looking at him trying to see if we looked alike. So I did see similarities in me and him that, yeah, I do look like him. The way he was standing, I said, well, yeah, I stand like that. The way he was walking, I said, I walk like that. I looked at his hands. I said, yeah, we got the same big hands.
Judge Lake asks for their hopes. Mr. Dowdy, seeming confused, admits, she's mine. He acknowledges his mistakes and imperfect fatherhood, but wants to make things right now that he's older. Shayna's hope is simpler, that once they have the results, he will step up and do the right thing moving forward. She knows he can't rewrite the past, but she desperately needs him to claim his role in her future.
Don't have any relationship because I don't get it. What do you want? What are your hopes?
That she's mine.
That she's yours.
Yeah.
You do hope so.
To be honest with you, yeah.
That's all I want is honesty.
Her children are my only grandchildren that I would have.
And what about you?
Yeah, I made some mistakes. I wasn't a perfect father to none of my children.
Judge Lake reads the results. After a tense pause, she delivers the crushing verdict. Mr. Dowdy, you are not the father. Silence and shock follow. Ms. Wilson immediately protests, insisting, I haven't been with nobody else but him. Shakina, faced with the scientific truth, tells her mother, you had to be with somebody else. But her mother stands by her story, leaving a profound, unresolved mystery at the heart of their lives.
Were prepared by DNA diagnostics in the case of Wilson versus Dowdy when it comes to 36-year-old Shakina Wright. It has been determined by this court. Mr. Dowdy, you are not the father.
This paternity court case wastes no time diving into chaos. Ms. Delaney swears her late lover, David Hairston Jr., fathered her 16-month-old daughter, Joya, but his family isn't buying it. Judge Lake sets the stage. This is Delaney versus Pert. The tension hits instantly as both mothers sit across from each other, glaring. One insists she's fighting for truth. The other insists the claim is all about money. You can feel the generational feud simmering.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning.
This is a case of Delaney versus Pert.
Thank you, Jerome. Ms. Delaney, you are joined today by your mother, and you both claim that you were a virgin when you met the defendant's late son, David Hairston Jr. However,
Ms. Delaney says she was a virgin before David. Her mother sits proudly, backing her up. But Ms. Pert fires back that her son never mentioned this girl, ever. She insists David would have told her if something real was happening. Ms. Delaney argues he hid the relationship because he was older than even her mother. The entire courtroom gasps as Judge Lake double-checks. Wait, older than your mother? Talk about scandal. The age gap instantly raises eyebrows.
you are certain Mr. Hairston is your child's biological father?
1,000% certain.
1,000,000%.
I
know
so,
he's the
no,
father
Your
of
Honor.
my granddaughter,
No.
Joya. Yes, he is.
I do not believe it, Your Honor, because he would have told me something of her. He always talked to me. He would have let me know that he was in a relationship with her.
I disagree, Your Honor.
When Ms. Delaney describes losing her virginity, Judge Lake can't help but react. She recalls how David refused to pay for a hotel room, so they went to a friend's house instead, with candles and whipped cream. The audience bursts into laughter. "You went all out, huh?" Judge Lake jokes, shaking her head. But this isn't comedy. It's the night Ms. Delaney says changed her life forever. She swears it was love, not lust, that tied them together.
Never heard of
All right, so I want to understand the nature of this relationship. Ms. Delaney, tell me, how did you meet Mr. Hairston?
I was walking home where I was living with my mom, and he stopped me and approached me. From there, we met like 30 minutes later, and we went to a mutual friend's house, and then we talked and got to know each other then.
Things get messy quick. Ms. Delaney says their relationship lasted about 4 months, but David's family says they never heard her name once. His sister reveals he used codenames for women, PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, like some kind of dating game. Judge Lake's face says it all, disbelief mixed with judgment. Clearly, this man was playing more than just games. The courtroom chuckles nervously, but you can tell the truth beneath it isn't funny at all.
So you say, no, I'm not paying for this hotel.
Correct.
And he says, I'm not paying either.
Correct.
So what happened?
We then went to the mutual friend's house.
Oh.
And then that's where it took place. He had candles. We did get candles.
Whipped cream and all, Your Honor. She told me they had whipped cream. I'm like, oh, you went all out, huh? How was it?
When Ms. Delaney discovered she was pregnant, it wasn't a romantic moment. It was detective work. Her best friend got her period, but she didn't. "Girl, you pregnant," her friend said. Then her mom, yes, her mom, put it together after getting sick from her favorite pink salmon. "Somebody's pregnant," she declared. Sure enough, it was Miss Delaney. The audience cracks up, but Judge Lake leans forward. "Was he the only man?" she asks. Ms. Delaney insists, yes.
So take me to the day, Miss Delaney, you find out you're pregnant.
I missed my menstrual cycle, but the only reason I knew is because my menstrual comes on the day before my best friend, and she came and asked me for feminine products, And I asked her, why you need that? And she said, because my period is on. And I said, well, mine's not on. She said, well, because you pregnant.
And Your Honor, I said, something's going on because I just had pink salmon and I love it, but it made me sick to my stomach.
Ms. Delaney explains she only slept with David, period. Her mom nods. She knows her daughter's word, but the judge presses on. Was he there during your pregnancy? Ms. Delaney hesitates, saying he was halfway present, about 50-50. He didn't go to doctor visits, wasn't there for the birth, and didn't sign the birth certificate. David's family looks stunned. They claim he never said a word about this baby. The court's tension level just skyrocketed.
It is your testimony that once you had sex with Mr. Hairston, and that was the first man you've ever had sex with, you did not have sex with anybody else during that time when you were intimate with him.
Yes, Your Honor.
So it is your testimony that during the window of conception, you were only intimate with him.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, and at some point, your mom's testified you moved into a hotel together.
We did.
While you were pregnant?
This was before, while I was.
Ms. Delaney's mother takes the stand with fire. She says she saw David sneaking around, switching cars, pulling up by the mailbox, acting secretive. I knew of him, she says, but not his age. When she found out, she was horrified. That don't look good in the community, she scolds. Judge Lake nods firmly. Clearly, Mama had morals. You can see the pain in her face, though. She feels like she failed her daughter by not stopping it sooner.
Oh, I mean, sorry, you, because the mother claimed she didn't know him.
Correct.
Because
I did not, right. I know of him. All I know was his first name, and I've seen him sneaking. He would change vehicles, come in different cars, pick her up. She'd have to meet him to the mailbox from where we lived. Different stuff. I've seen him in passing, but never met him.
But why was it in passing? I mean, you the mother, when he was pulling up and your daughter's waiting by the mailbox, you know this doesn't look right.
After Joya's birth, Ms. Delaney says David loved his daughter. He called her stinky feet and never denied her. But when he didn't step up financially, she filed for child support. David's family listens in silence as she explains he was scheduled for a court-ordered DNA test, but then he died before it happened. The courtroom falls quiet. The timing is haunting. One day away from the truth, and then he was gone forever.
The whole time through in this pregnancy, after about 5 months.
After Joya was born, did he develop any type of relationship with her?
Said that he believes that this is his daughter. He never denied her being his daughter. He thinks that she looks like him. He called her stinky feet.
And so you felt like the interaction was what you would see from a man who believed he was the father of the child. Like he felt like he came in and treated your daughter like she was his?
Ms. Delaney says she thought David faked his death to dodge child support. Judge Lake actually raises an eyebrow, understandably. How do you die with no health issues right before a paternity test? Ms. Delaney asks, her frustration boiling. David's mother, Ms. Pert, insists it's true. He's gone. That's my child, she says, her voice breaking. I wouldn't lie. For a brief moment, you can see both mothers' grief collide, the living and the mourning.
How were you able to connect with his family?
I found out that the funeral home that they had whatever they had at was, I contacted them and then I left my information and she called me back.
And what was that conversation like? What happened?
She explained to me that they were supposed to go to court and that he didn't make it.
David's sister, Miss Baylor, steps in calmly but firmly. My brother wasn't sure, she says. He wanted the DNA test. She insists he told her that himself. Ms. Pert nods, adding, we just need to know the truth. Ms. Delaney snaps. Her name is Joya, not the baby. The entire courtroom freezes. She has a name! Ms. Delaney's voice trembles with anger. Even Judge Lake looks moved. The tension between these families couldn't be thicker.
At first, yes, Your Honor, that is what I thought. Because it was just so weird how you come to one court date and then you never deny that she's yours. And they tell you to come for paternity testing. And then we have a conversation and then next thing I know, you're dead. You had no health problems. How are you dead?
I mean, it was a shock for us also, you know, and I mean, the bottom line of it is,
Ms. Delaney's mother chimes in again, saying she wishes she'd met David before he died. Now she'll never know her father, she says through tears. Ms. Pert shoots back defensively, still saying, the baby. Judge Lake interjects softly. Her name is Joya. The room quiets. This is why paternity issues hurt so deeply, she explains. They create confusion, pain, and loss. You can see every woman at that table carrying her own kind of heartbreak.
Her name is Joya, so I'm okay.
It's about Joya.
It's all about Joya.
Okay.
It really is.
Okay, it is.
It really is.
Okay.
This is why paternity issues, they really are, they're hurtful and they're confusing, and they create a lens through which we see everything.
The DNA results are finally in. Judge Lake announces they tested Joya's DNA against David's mother. Since David is deceased, the tension is unbearable. Ms. Delaney's eyes well up. Judge Lake reads slowly. The percentage of relatedness between Ms. Pert and Joya Delaney is 0.0%. Gasps echo through the courtroom. Ms. Delaney shakes her head violently. "That's not true!" she cries. Her mother clutches her hand. The disbelief and pain are gut-wrenching. You can feel it everywhere.
In the case of Delaney versus Pert, Joya Delaney, it has been determined by this court the percentage of relatedness between Ms. Almenia Pert and Joya Delaney is 0.00%.
Get ready for a case that's been simmering for 18 years. Mr. Whistler walks in drowning in $21,000 of child support debt for a son he swears isn't his. But Miss Frazier, she's ice cold, admitting she always knew he might not be the dad and telling him to just get over it. With his wages garnished to just $70 a week, this is a financial and emotional nightmare finally hitting its boiling point.
Mr. Whistler, you claim you currently owe almost $21,000 in back child support. And son, a young man you believe, you say your paycheck is garnished each week, leaving you only $70.
So why the lifelong doubt? Mr. Whistler drops a bombshell. Doctors told him he was medically unable to have kids due to a torsion. So when Ms. Frazier ended up pregnant, his first thought was, how? This isn't just a hunch, it's a medical diagnosis that's haunted him for nearly 2 decades. You can hear the frustration in his voice as he explains the impossible situation he's been trapped in.
You doubt paternity.
Because, Your Honor, we were in a relationship, and about late 2005, she comes to me and tells me she's pregnant. Are you for sure it is mine?
You had doubts from the beginning.
Yes, ma'am. I had a torsion, unable to have children.
But here's the twist that makes it so messy. He wanted to be the dad. She told him if he wanted the baby to have his last name, he had to be at the birth. He was there. He signed the birth certificate, and he even proposed to her. She took the ring and said, not right now. He was all in, building a future based on what he believed was a sure thing.
You told me if I wanted that kid to have my last name and I wanted to claim him.
That's why
I did
your last name.
And then it come out a little while later that you had been sleeping with this other man all this time.
At 6 months.
Then, the rug pull. Just 6 months after the baby was born, she casually tells him, oh, by the way, it might be this other guy's. His world shattered. That signature on the birth certificate, it locked him into 18 years of financial responsibility for a child he now seriously doubted was his. The betrayal in his voice is still raw, all these years later.
Oh, I can't go on with my life now.
You claim that not until the child was 6 months old were you told that there could be a question. So take me back to that time. How did she tell you this?
She told me straight up, yeah, this other man's.
He whips out the proof. A fresh letter from the state of Missouri demanding a whopping $20,850.56. He's livid, screaming that he's already paid a fortune. But Ms. Frazier shoots back with her own claim. I never got a dime. So where's the money going? The plot thickens. It's a classic, he said, she said, but with a mountain of debt sitting right in the middle of the courtroom.
I've never given it to me. I ain't got no child support one.
You never received any child support from the state of Missouri.
Nope.
Hold on, Mr. Whistler, what is the evidence you keep holding up? May I see that, please?
A letter I received from the child enforcement of the state of Missouri.
I've never received child support.
Judge Lake cuts to the chase. Was there another man? Ms. Frazier admits, yes. And did he ever pay child support? No. So let's get this straight. There's a confirmed other candidate for dad, but the state is still chasing Mr. Whistler for the cash? The injustice is so thick you could choke on it. He's stuck paying for a kid that might be another man's responsibility.
But Mr. Whistler, because you signed the birth certificate, under the law, you are
Yes,
the
Your
legal
Honor.
father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand that when you were signing that birth certificate that day?
Yes, Your Honor, I certainly did, but I was to the impression it was my child.
Ms. Frazier tries to defend herself, saying she always wrote the other guy's name on the paperwork. But Judge Lake serves the cold, hard truth. You signed the birth certificate, sir. That one signature, made in a moment of faith and commitment, became a legal trapdoor. It doesn't matter what she wrote later. The state saw his name and came for him. The look on his face, pure devastation.
I was under the impression that I could have been the only person.
You signed that birth certificate because you believed person.
Yes, Your Honor, until about 6 months later.
After the child was already here.
Yes, Your
and
Honor.
you had already signed
The stakes get even higher when his fiancée takes the stand. She's done her homework and is terrified he could go to jail over this debt. She's seen it happen for smaller amounts. This isn't just about money anymore. It's about his freedom. This 18-year-old secret is now threatening to lock up his future, and the fear in her eyes is absolutely real.
And I still got to go back to the state of Missouri and hire someone before I go to jail.
Because Dallas is almost 18 now.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you could go to jail for failure to pay child support.
Yes, you're right, Your Honor.
Now, meet Dallas, the son at the center of all this. Judge Lake asks him if he ever believed Mr. Whistler was his dad. He says he did, but his mom was always honest that there might be someone else. He's met the other guy, but it's Mr. Whistler he calls dad. This isn't just about DNA, it's about the family bond that formed over a lifetime of confusion.
Mr. Whistler, thank you for joining us today. You realize why we're here.
Yes.
And so I have to ask you directly, do you believe Mr. Whistler is your biological father?
As I was growing up, I did believe he was my father, but I was always told that it could be somebody else.
And now for the legal gut punch. Judge Lake warns Mr. Whistler that even if the DNA test clears him, he might still be on the hook for that $21,000. Why? Because he signed the birth certificate. Let that sink in. The truth might set his soul free, but it might not touch that massive debt. The system has him in a vice grip, and it might not let go.
You may still be responsible for
Yes,
that
Your Honor.
$21,000.
Yes, I understand.
Depending on today's results, you will have the opportunity to return to your home state. You can get that $21,000 debt.
The moment of truth has arrived. Judge Lake opens the envelope. Mr. Whistler, you are not his father. 18 years of doubt, debt, and drama, and it's finally over. He is not the biological father. The scientific result is in, and it confirms what he's felt in his gut since day one. But the battle is only half over. Now he has to see if the law will acknowledge the truth.
These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. When it comes to the paternity of Mr. Dallas Whistler, Mr. Whistler, you are not his father.
Two sisters, Miss Johnson and Miss Davis, are in court to learn if the man who raised them is their biological father. The defendant, Mr. Johnson, admits he's always had doubts. The catalyst? Another man crashed their mother's funeral, claiming he was their real dad. With a third potential sibling waiting outside, this case is a 25-year-old mystery wrapped in family drama, and everyone is desperate for the truth.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello.
This is the case of Johnson Davis versus Johnson.
Thank you, Jerome. Ms. Johnson and Mrs. Davis, you are here in court today to finally find out if the defendant is your biological father. You both claim at your mother's funeral, a different man approached you and announced he instead is your father.
Ms. Johnson describes the shocking funeral scene. As she mourned, a man walked up behind her, put his arms around her, and asked, "How is my beautiful little girl doing?" She was stunned, having always believed Mr. Johnson was her father. In that moment, her entire identity was thrown into chaos. The man turning out to be a family friend only made the bizarre claim more confusing and painful.
He's also taken a DNA test and will meet him shortly. Ms. Johnson, explain to the court what happened at your mother's funeral.
Well, At the time, I haven't seen my mother in 4 years. I was at work, and that's how I found out that my mother had passed away. Now, the day of the funeral, when I had walked in, this guy had walked in behind me.
The confusion started long before the funeral. Ms. Johnson reveals her mother would flip-flop on the story. One day, she'd say Mr. Johnson was the father. The next day, she wasn't sure. This back and forth created a lifetime of doubt for everyone involved. The man at the funeral wasn't a random stranger, but someone her mother had specifically named as a potential father, confirming the rumors.
I had thought that the defendant, Roger Johnson, was my biological father. And at the time, I did not know who was behind me. So, Your Honor, I'm sitting here looking, stunned and trying to figure out what is this guy talking about as far as him being my biological father.
Judge Lake asks Mr. Johnson if he ever suspected infidelity. Yes, Your Honor, he states firmly. He reveals he once called his wife and discovered she was in another man's apartment. While he says he didn't witness the activity, the implication was clear. This first-hand experience of her unfaithfulness is what planted the seed of doubt about his daughter's paternity that has haunted him for decades.
You did?
Yes, Your Honor.
What did you hear specifically?
Actually, she actually told me.
She did?
Yes, Your Honor.
What did she say?
She would tell me, I'm unhappy. You're not spending the time with me. And she would go off and be with these other guys.
Ms. Davis shares her own haunting memory from childhood. Her mother took her to a car lot, pointed to a man working there, and told him, "This is her." As a child, she didn't understand, but as an adult, she pieced it together. Her mother was identifying a potential father. It was another piece of a painful puzzle, suggesting her mother knew the paternity was uncertain all along.
My mother used to take me to places like this car lot, and this guy used to work there, and she had me up in the front of the seat with her in the car, and then she looked at the guy and told him, "This is her." Now, me being young, I didn't really understand then, but once I got older, I started putting the puzzles together, and then now I know.
Mr. Johnson presents his divorce papers as evidence. They show the girl's mother gave up all her parental rights. He raised them completely on his own, despite his lingering doubts. He was there for their birth, through all the milestones, acting as both mom and dad. He accepted the responsibility, even as the question of biology hung over their family like a dark cloud.
That's my divorce papers.
So this is a final judgment of divorce.
Yes, Your Honor.
It says the defendant, which was your mother at the time, will not pay any child support, she having given up all parental rights to plaintiff.
The emotional weight hits as Ms. Johnson tears up, remembering how her dad taught her girl things. As a tattoo artist, he used his drawing skills to create visual aids, doing his best to be a resourceful single father. Judge Lake calls him a very resourceful daddy. This moment highlights the profound effort he put into raising them, making the paternity question even more emotionally charged.
But thank God, me being a tattoo artist, I know how to draw, so I was able to explain a lot of things and go on the computer, pull things up.
That's smart. You did illustration, did a visual. That's smart. A very resourceful daddy you were. You shaking your head, yes, Miss Johnson, and you have tears. You remember him trying to be mom and dad and explain?
The story gets even more heartbreaking. Mr. Johnson reveals he had to pay the girl's mother just to spend time with them. He wanted them to have a relationship with her, but she would only agree if he gave her money. This added a layer of financial and emotional exploitation to an already painful situation, showing the extreme lengths he went to for his daughter's well-being.
For many years, Your Honor, and I loved my first wife. That was the mother of my children. But and my children know, I used to pay their mother to see them. And when I said that I wasn't going to pay...
You used to have to pay
yes, Your Honor.
Their mother to see them?
Yes, Your Honor. And that's the reason why it was so long, why they didn't see the mother, having to give her money just to spend time with the kids.
Their brother, Roger Johnson Jr., enters. He's asked if he sees their father in his sisters. He confirms he sees a resemblance in Ms. Johnson, but for Ms. Davis, he softly admits, "No, ma'am." The pain is visible on his face. This public acknowledgement of the physical difference underscores the family's internal struggle and the silent suspicion that has fractured their unity for years.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us, Mr. Johnson.
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, we're here with your sisters and also your dad, talking about the issues regarding their paternity. Tell me what you know exactly about the doubts surrounding their paternity.
There's a lot of doubts. My middle sister, I could see my father.
That's Miss Johnson.
Yes, ma'am.
A devastating revelation. Ms. Davis's husband didn't even know Mr. Johnson was her father. She had introduced him as the man that raised her. Mr. Johnson describes this as being stabbed in the heart. This act of denial, born from her own confusion, caused a deep rift, leading to a period where she cut off all contact, leaving him wounded and estranged from her life.
I don't believe you did, but what I meant by that, sir, is that others have.
And it got to her, and she got to a point where she was trying to single herself out from the family. Her husband didn't even know I was her father.
Really? Explain, how could he not know you were her?
From what he was told, I was just the man that raised her.
Ms. Davis confesses through tears. She admits she was rebellious, confused, and said hurtful things, including denying he was her father. She even had another man give her away at her wedding, not inviting her dad. She asks for forgiveness, stating, "I don't want to do this anymore." It's a raw admission of how the paternity chaos poisoned their relationship and caused her to push him away.
I was young, I was rebellious. I was going through a period of time to where I said some very negative things towards my father, and I really didn't mean it. I was very confused still at that point in time.
Okay.
Your Honor, she was so confused, another man gave her away at her wedding. I wasn't even invited. I didn't even know she had got married.
Mr. Johnson reveals his ultimate motivation, his grandchildren. One has medical problems, and he needs to know the full family medical history. If it takes going through this pain to save my grandchild, it's worth it, he declares. This elevates the case beyond personal doubt into a mission of love and protection, showing his role as a patriarch extends far beyond biology.
I have 7 grandchildren. 2 of my grandchildren is with her. All right, they have medical problems, the oldest one does. And when she has, I want her to understand that even though I want to know if I'm really her father, regardless if I am biological, I'm always going to be a father, she needs to know.
The results arrive. The tension is unbearable. Judge Lake reads them one by one. For the son, you are his father. For Miss Johnson, you are her father. Finally, for Ms. Davis, Mr. Johnson Sr., you are her father. The relief is instant and powerful. He is the biological father of all 3. A 25-year mystery ends, closing old wounds and offering this fractured family a chance to truly heal.
In the case of Johnson, Davis v. Johnson, as it pertains to the paternity of Roger Johnson Jr., and as to whether Roger Johnson Sr. is his biological father, Mr. Johnson Sr., you are his father.
This case kicks off with a certified mess. Ms. Hilburn admits she's been tangled in a 3-year love triangle that resulted in her 10-month-old daughter, Sorey. She's here to prove the defendant, Mr. Barnes, is the father, but he has major doubts, especially after discovering she cheated on him on Valentine's Day. Oh, and she's still legally married to someone else. The stage is set for a drama-filled paternity reveal.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello.
This is a case of Hilburn versus Barnes.
Thank you, Jerome. Ms. Hilburn, you admit that you've been caught up in a love triangle, which you say resulted in the birth of your 10-month-old daughter, Sorey.
Mr. Barnes lays out his heartbreaking commitment. He was there for every step, the appointments, the ultrasounds, the birth. He even arrived at the hospital before she did, but there was a huge legal snag. He couldn't sign the birth certificate because Ms. Hilburn was still married to another man. He did everything a father should, only to be blocked by a technicality and a web of lies.
It's a father-daughter relationship. I was there from start to finish. I was there for appointments, ultrasounds. I was there when she was born. I got there before she did to the hospital.
Ms. Hilburn starts unraveling the sordid tale. She met Mr. Barnes through an ex. They started a relationship, and then she began secretly sleeping with another man. Judge Lake confirms that's pretty much a love triangle. Mr. Barnes had no idea, believing her lies until the truth was forced out. The confession is blunt and paints a picture of deliberate, long-term deception.
I met Mr. Barnes through an ex of mine. mine. He was friends with him, and we developed a relationship. And then we started to have issues, and I met another guy and started to sleep with him behind Mr. Barnes's back.
That's pretty much a love triangle, so you ended up having feelings for both men.
Mr. Barnes relives the brutal Valentine's Day discovery. He was at work while she claimed to be at a friend's. He came home to silence, no calls or texts. The next day, she returned with the other man, and he was informed by their mutual friends that the two had slept together. He found out about the betrayal from third parties, adding public humiliation to the pain.
She says she's going to her friends. Okay, fine, go ahead. I get home, I try texting her, try calling her, no response. Whatever, I go to sleep. The next day, Miss Hilburn and the other gentleman come back to the house. They're brought by the people that they stayed with.
The plot thickens to unbelievable levels. Judge Lake discovers that after the cheating, all three of them, Mr. Barnes, Ms. Hilburn, and the other man, lived together in the same house. Even crazier, Ms. Hilburn admits she was still intimate with both men during this time. The logistical and emotional chaos of this arrangement leaves Judge Lake and everyone else just stunned.
You said all of you were living together?
Yes, ma'am.
You're living with your girlfriend and the man she cheated on you with?
No, we were not together at the time.
The chaos isn't in the past. Mr. Barnes admits they are still intimate today, though he claims they use protection. Then, Ms. Hilburn drops another bomb. She is 7 months pregnant. Judge Lake asks if she knows who the father is. The answer is a devastating deja vu. It could be Mr. Barnes or the other guy. The cycle is repeating in real time.
How it is today.
If he said it was going to be different, that's why he's still sleeping with me in the present.
Mr. Barnes, are you still intimate with Ms. Hilburn?
Yes, ma'am, but we use condoms.
Ms. Hilburn, are you also still with the other guy?
This baby was born, I became pregnant again.
Ms. Hilburn says when she found out she was pregnant with Soray, she told Mr. Barnes first. He was initially skeptical because she had lied about being pregnant before, but when she showed him the proof, he was happy. He wanted to be a father. The tragic twist, he was still in the dark about the other man, building a future on a half-truth.
Do you know who this child's father is?
It could be Mr. Barnes or the other guy.
It's the same situation.
The same situation.
Guess we can cancel our vacations.
Absolutely.
Because Miss Hilburn would potentially be the father?
Yes, Your Honor.
A heated argument erupts over when the truth came out. Ms. Hilburn claims she told him before the birth that he might not be the father. Mr. Barnes vehemently insists she didn't reveal the possibility until 2 months after Soray was born, during an argument. This fundamental disagreement on the timeline shows a relationship built on shifting sands and conflicting realities.
I took the paper to him and showed that I was pregnant, and he was happy because he wanted to be a father.
So even though she lied before about being pregnant,
Yeah, I saw the proof this
you saw
time,
the proof
so I was happy.
and you were happy.
Yes, Your Honor.
Did she tell you about the other guy?
Judge Lake calls out the repeating pattern, pointing out Ms. Hilburn is in the exact same situation again. She admits she regrets her actions and is scared that if Soray isn't his, Mr. Barnes will walk away. The judge notes that the other man is absent, only showing up to provoke Mr. Barnes, using the baby as a pawn in their toxic dynamic.
Miss Hilburn, there's a part of me that wants to believe you regret it, and yet you find yourself in the exact same situation again. I don't know how much more difficult a life lesson has to be, but the mistake you've repeated again.
The emotional core is exposed. Ms. Hilburn confesses her deepest fear that her actions have destroyed her child's chance at a stable, two-parent home with a man who truly cares. She's terrified of losing Mr. Barnes. He affirms that Soray deserves somebody there as a father, showing his commitment remains, even as the foundation crumbles beneath them.
What your hopes are, because you definitely want to be the father.
Yes, I do.
And you truly want him to be, because this other gentleman, you have no faith in him.
I do not.
Why are you with him then?
The web of entanglement grows even more tangled. Judge Lake discovers Mr. Barnes also has a current girlfriend. Furthermore, his girlfriend lives with her baby daddy and their kids, and he hasn't seen her in 7 months. This revelation transforms the love triangle into a full-blown square, revealing a cycle of unavailable partners and deeply dysfunctional relationships that everyone is perpetuating.
Hold on now. You say you don't see your girlfriend for 7 months?
Yeah, she lives on the property with her baby daddy.
She could potentially be carrying your child now, and you also could be Soray's father.
Judge Lake has had enough. She orders that from the courtroom, Ms. Hilburn will undergo prenatal testing for the new baby. She declares that Sorey shouldn't have to wait almost a year to know her father, and this new child won't either. It's a direct judicial intervention to stop the cycle of chaos and provide answers for the innocent children caught in the crossfire.
We are going to get the DNA test results for Sorey today, but I am going to order you, I am going to send you directly. Find out who this child's father is.
The results for Sorey are in. After a tense pause, Judge Lake delivers the verdict. Mr. Barnes, you are not the father. The result is a devastating blow. He sits in stunned silence. The judge admits she was rooting for him, seeing how much he loved the little girl, but states firmly that DNA is the jury. The truth is absolute, and it's heartbreaking.
These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Hilburn versus Barnes, pertaining to whether Sean Barnes is the biological father of Mr. Barnes, you are not Sorey's father.
In the aftermath, Mr. Barnes is gutted. When asked what he'll do, he admits, I can't just really let go of that. Judge Lake advises him that if he stays in Sorey's life, it must be without resentment. She also delivers a hard truth. Sorey is young enough to recover if he decides to step away. The future of their bond now hangs in the balance.
What is there to do? I mean, can't just really let go of that.
Because ultimately, you are not her biological father. So if you truly feel like it's best, she's young enough now where she can recover.
In a follow-up, the results for the new baby are revealed. In a brutal case of déjà vu, Judge Lake announces, Mr. Barnes, you are not the father. He takes it stoically, reaffirming that it won't change his relationship with Sorey. He promises to keep on going how we have been, proving his love for the little girl he raised is stronger than biology.
Mr. Barnes, you are not the father.
Still not going to change anything for the fact of Sorey, so I mean, just gonna keep on going how we have been.
I hope that this entire situation has been a huge learning lesson, life lesson for you.